The most important person in the whole wide world is you, and you hardly even know you. The most important person in the whole wide world is you. Come on, we'll show you. Let's find out more about the things you feel and do, 'cause you're the most important person in the world to you.
Hello, 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 and welcome to One for All is Love with Sonya Spirit. And I am Sonya Spirit. And today is a beautiful Sunday, October 25th, 2020. And it is a 3 energy day. All right, so we hear Maggie in the background. She's participating. I guess she wants to throw in her 2 cents. She's a African gray parrot. Anyway, so today's topic is be mindful of what you wish, okay? And this is actually going to be a continuation from the Daily Dose, this morning's Daily Dose on Facebook Live, and it's also posted on YouTube right now it's posted on Red Sonya 616, but I'll have to make One for All is Love its own channel. Okay. And I'll do that after this podcast. Okay, so be mindful of what you wish. And so let's go ahead and get started with that. As I stipulated in the description, there is a simple formula for creating your own reality, and yet we consistently create and or attract that which we claim we don't want. Okay. And there's a reason for that. It's not necessarily a conscious effort. It's more like subconscious conditioning. And we'll get into that because we have the time in this series. We have the time to explore all of the intricacies. Okay, so while the process for creating or manifesting your reality is simple, we are intentionally conflicted. And, of course, we struggle to focus our energy, meaning our thoughts and feelings, on what we truly desire. So the process is relatively simple. Decide what you want and modify all your thoughts and feelings to align with your desired outcome. Be expectant, patient, and receptive when your desire presents itself in your reality. Okay? And then once you've achieved your desired outcome, receive it, and then move on to your next desired outcome. And believe it or not, God is the same way. So once a desire has been received, achieved, satisfied, then that yearning for that desire dissipates. That's just a natural life cycle. Okay? And that's the natural life cycle for basically creating. Okay, so once we receive something, once that desire has been satisfied, think of it as when you eat. When you're hungry, you eat food. Once you've satisfied that hunger, it's no longer an issue. Food doesn't hold your attention the way it did when you were hungry. Okay, so it's a natural process. All right, so you move on to something else. The purpose is to be focused, to understand what it is that you truly desire. Because one of the things that we run into is, as I've mentioned on episodes prior, we entertain 12 to 60,000 thoughts a day. And of those 12 to 60,000 thoughts a day, 95% of them are repetitive. And of those 12 to 60 thoughts a day, 80% are negative. Now, how about that? Or was it the other way around? 95% is negative and 80% are repetitive. I think 95% are repetitive and 80% is negative. But anyway, you get the point. The numbers are somewhere in there. But my point is this. The process for designing the life that you want is being mindful of what you wish. And when I say that is, oftentimes we spend our mind, our mental energy, our self-conscious energy on historical things. Not all of us. There are those who always think about the future. So they are in a creative mode. But if you're thinking about something in the past, you are still creating. You're just not really in a creative mode, not a purposeful creative mode. So people who are thinking about the future, thinking about unfolding or manifesting something new or different, or just they're creating, but they're creating through the unknown. They're using their mind. They're using intentionally. I got to say that word intentionally or purposefully, because we all do it, okay? We all manifest, whether we are cognizant of it or not, okay? And when we manifest is when our self-conscious, our mental energy matches our subconscious or our physical, emotional energy. When these two energies or these two consciousness, and they are not two separate entities, but they are in terms of man, but in terms of consciousness, there's only one stream, but I won't get into that. That's a little bit more technical. I just need you to understand how the process works. So when the self-conscious, the mental energy, the thoughts are aligned with your heart energy, your emotion, your subconscious, then it invokes the superconscious, which is the transformational energy. And all of this is automatic, okay? Once your mental and emotional energy are aligned, everything else is automatic. That's why I call it a process. And it's a process that we individually control. So, okay, think about this for a second. So our world we create through our feelings, our thoughts and our feelings. When they match, when they are in alignment, it triggers the superconscious or that universal energy to transform and manifest. Okay, so it's a recipe. Now, there are two ways that we kind of manifest our reality from a human perspective. One is being just proactive, your thoughts and your feelings matching. Now, whether or not you like them is another story, and that's what we want to get into. You want to be the authority and control the narrative. Stop letting thoughts waft into your head and stop entertaining them if it's not what you want. Stop harping and dwelling on the past if it's not serving you, okay? And there's no need to harp and dwell in the past. You're living in the past. When you're living in the past, you will be living it in the future. When you think, feel about things that have occurred in the past, particularly things that you do not wish to reenact or recreate. Once you've learned from that lesson, let it go. Move on. You're creating your own quagmire. Because someone wronged you, you're focusing on the wrong thing. Yes, someone may have wronged you, but it's not that person you need to focus your energy on. It's the experience. Why were you wronged? And how can you grow from that experience? Now, am I going to give you the answers? No, because I don't know what your learning experience is for that particular physical experience that you had. But that's for you and the I in you to disclose. That's between you and the God in you. That's y'all's relationship. Okay, but know that this exists. Okay, so be mindful of what you wish. So what is it that you want? Most of us, especially when we first come into the realization that we have this creative power, this creative ability, okay? And yes, this is God's power. This is God's ability. And this is the God in us. That's why we're supposed to be mindful of our thoughts, certainly our words, because what that does is amplify, magnify our thoughts. Okay, so it's a reinforcement. Words are reinforcement. It reinforces the thought and it reinforces the heart energy. Okay? So it's a reinforcement. So don't say anything that you can't take back. Say anything that isn't helpful, that isn't constructive, that doesn't benefit everyone or all that's involved. You know, a couple of earlier this week on the Daily Dose on Facebook Live, I talked about oh shucks, I knew I was going to lose that train of thought. I talked about okay, I lost it. Sorry. All right, sorry about that. It happens. Okay, so getting back to how we create our reality. We do it directly through our thoughts and feelings, and we also do it indirectly, and this is when we think we're not involved, through karma. Okay, and karma is not God punishing us. Karma is a restoration of harmony. Okay, and harmony is God's perfect movement. It's the orderliness of God. But remember, everything about God is beautiful. So even God's movement is beautiful. That's what harmony is. Harmony is a beautiful, is the perfect blend of energy, of movement. And it resonates as one sound or one piece or one creative, cohesive tune. I mean, just think about the complexity of harmony, but also the beauty of it. Okay? Whatever music that you like. Okay? Because whatever music that you like has a harmony, a feel to it that resonates with you, that is beautiful and sings to your soul, uplifts you. Harmony is God. It's the orderliness of God's movement. Anyway, so our thought. Okay, so yeah, I said indirectly through karma. So karma, of course, we many of us call it cause and effect. Some of us call it, we think it's something bad. We've done something bad. It's not about good or bad. God doesn't even get into that. It's what is knocking stuff out of harmony, okay? So we do things not necessarily intentionally to hurt or harm someone. We could be doing stuff out of ignorance. We do that all the time. We're not even going to talk about ignorance and insecurity. That's a whole different subject. But we do things out of ignorance, okay? And, we say ignorance is bliss, but remember, ignorance of the law does not absolve you from it. Okay, so even if when we act out of ignorance, there is a karma or a restoration of energy that returns to us so that we can be more mindful, or whatever the lesson is. We can be more considerate of others, or be more kind, or whatever the subtle lesson is that we may have violated universal law through our ignorance. So, but we call it karma. You can call it karma. You can call it your karma, because we are responsible for it. Okay, we are responsible for it. And of course, now when karma arrives, that's all God. That's the harmony of the universe. Okay, when that lesson occurs, when that karma returns, that is the orderliness, the harmony of the universe. Okay, just like with when we create intentionally or purposefully through our thoughts and minds versus haphazardly. But when we create purposefully, the how is not our concern. Okay, so what we want to think about is, first of all, the inputs. The inputs is our mental energy and our heart energy. So what does that mean? What do we want to put into it? Because the whole process of creating it is like a computer. Input, process, and output. Okay? Our inputs is our self-conscious, our thought energy, and our subconscious, which is our physical energy or heart energy or feeling energy, emotions. So those are ingredients, okay? Now, when those ingredients, like I said, when they are aligned, then the processing takes place. And the processing is the transformation of those inputs into a physical outcome, okay? So that how is the transformation process. That how is the superconscious transforming the inputs into a physical output. So once again, that is God's orderliness. I'm struggling with this word today. That is God's orderliness, okay? And so the how, once again, that's out of our hands. We're not really concerned about that. Learn to let go, okay? There's a time when you are in control, and then there's a time when you are not, okay? And that's what fluidity and adaptability is all about. You don't control everything. And to be quite honest, you really don't even want to if you want to know the truth about it. Look at what we do have control over, and you see what we're doing with that. Anyway, but we're not going to harp on the negative. We are focusing on what we do want, not on what we have done in the past, okay? We're not getting into that. Okay. So, so the process is easy. So you got your process and the transformation, the how, that takes place through the superconscious, which is, of course, the universal energy. And it transforms our inputs, so our thought and feeling energy, into a physical outcome. So those inputs is the blueprint, the concept, the idea. This is what we want. Think about it. Think about a blueprint to a house or building something. You start out with a plan, a blueprint. This is what it looks like on paper, okay? And then the how part takes place. You start collecting all of the materials. So we understand how the process works because it works in every aspect of our life. It's just that in this particular aspect of our life, the how part is not our concern. We don't do that aspect of it, okay? That aspect of it is the transformation process takes place automatically through the superconscious. We have to come to the table with ingredients that are aligned or ingredients that agree so that we can make the recipe. I mean, you don't want to make ice cream. Well, I can't even use that because there's people that put chili peppers in ice cream. I was going to say, you don't want to make ice cream with hot sauce, but there's chocolate and chili peppers, and they go together. But you get my point. Okay. So, but family, what I'm saying is take into consideration this whole coronavirus. It has given us an opportunity, at least in the beginning, to really to be still and examine our lives. Now, whether or not we just resisted the change and never took the time to examine ourselves individually as well as collectively, okay? Because we all have individual responsibilities for our own lives and the energy that we put out, okay? Because this superconscious energy, we're all sharing, okay? We're all sharing. There's an aspect of that we call the collective conscious, but the superconscious is basically, it's God's energy, period. God's power, God's energy, and we're a part of it. And we're a part of it. So we don't control the big picture. We just contribute to it, okay? Because we don't know how to use the tools and the power that we have. That's all it is. It's ignorance. It's just ignorance. And to be quite honest, I want to get past this ignorance. I want to understand the big picture. So let's talk about what you really want. What drives you? What are you passionate about? And I know people who say, I don't know what I want. And I was one of those people for a long time. I just didn't think about, what do I want? I just kind of wafted through life. Because I don't know, maybe it's my birth sign or who knows. It's just my spirit. But, I just kind of, take it as it comes. And does that mean have I ever had hardships? Of course, I've had plenty of them. But I don't know. I just didn't take it personally or just embody it. So when I say take something personally, I mean you embody it into your cells. So you are taking it personally into your being. And when you take it in personally, you're modifying or conditioning or retraining the cells of your being. So be careful of what you take personally. Just because everything is happening to you, okay, it's also happening, it's also happening as you and through you. So don't embody the negative. Don't take in the negative because you don't want that energy instilled in your cells. Negative energy, particularly when we house and hold them through regret, through revenge, through all the adverse type feelings. It's okay to experience them, but you don't want to hold on to them. You do not want to harbor them. You do not want to possess them because it creates a resistance and a disharmony in your body, which we all know becomes disease over time. Now, you can tell yourself whatever you want to about GMOs and smoking and water and all of this stuff. And yes, it does affect your physical body. Okay, so you do want to take care of your physical body because part of your intelligence is your physical energy, your heart energy. There's a lot of communication that takes place in your heart, instinct, okay? Inspiration generally comes through the head, but instinct, okay, also comes through the heart, and that's a communication. That's a direct divine communication. So I'm not encouraging you to pollute your body, but I'm also telling you, listen, don't sweat the small stuff, okay? If you're not in a position to eat healthier and things, don't concern yourself. The time will come, it will all fall away. It will all fall away. So don't worry about stuff that you may feel like you cannot control. Don't concern yourself with that. Okay, let's focus on what you can control. Okay, you can control your thoughts. It takes practice. It takes effort. Okay, the life that you want is in your hands and head and heart. Okay, so you have to put forth the energy. So getting back to what you are passionate about and why passion is important. And you will have to find it. If you don't know what your passion is, what do you feel? Something resonates with you, even if it's just temporarily. I mean, I've had so many careers and jobs as well. I've moved around a lot. Remember, I told you I'm a wafter. I'm going with the flow. I'm going where life takes me. And adversity leads you to strange places, but there is a lot of beauty and pleasantry and godliness on the other side of that experience if you go with the flow. Anyway, and get out your own way. Get out of your own way. Okay. So, so everything really centers around your attitude or perspective. Okay. We think of course, my favorite flying animal is the owl. I got my different spirit animals. And so, of course, the owl, I've always clung to the owl. But anyway, so where was I going with the spirit animals and the owl? Not quite sure. But anyway, forgive me, it just happened. But, I know where I was going with the owl. The owl can turn its head 180 degrees. Okay, so, of course, which means basically it can just rotate all the way back on either side, okay, which is just short of being, I guess, going a full 360. Oh, no, I don't think it's 170. I think it's more like, 180. I think it's more like 270. So they can rotate their head almost like 3/4 fully around. But anyway, okay. But my point is perspective, okay? Being able to examine your own life, assess your own life from different perspectives, okay? Get out of your own way, okay? So, uh, earlier I was saying we all have the gift, the ability to see, perceive, experience, envision life through any perspective, okay? As far as thoughts that we wish, and if those thoughts have matching feelings, voila, that's the magic in the mind, or that's the magic in your being. Because I don't want to just restrict it to the mind, but that's the magic of your being, and you manifest. The question is, why don't we look at things differently? Why don't we see the best of everything? Of course, I know the answer to that is conditioning, but what I'm telling you is you're no longer a child, so you are responsible for changing the way you perceive things. You know, when we were children under 18, we were governed by parents, good, bad, or indifferent. We're not going to harp on that. And then when you magically turn 18, all of a sudden the state says that you are responsible for all of your own actions. So if you had poor parenting and a sorry childhood, they don't care. That's no longer an issue. You know, magically at 18, you are supposed to make clear and sound decisions, which, of course, we all know does not happen because, anyway, it doesn't. I mean, some of us do, but some of us still have guidance. Some of us have old souls, which means we know inside what's best, but we're having this experience. But for the majority of us, we don't. We don't make the best decisions because most of us are standing on shaky foundations. Crappy childhood, broken homes, economically challenged, abused mentally, physically, psychologically, or in our own minds. What I'm telling you is throw all that garbage out. It does not serve you. Like spring cleaning your house. What purpose does it serve? If it does not serve you, let it go. You have that power. You have that ability. Now take charge of your life. If it does not serve you, let it go. Stop talking about what other people are doing or not doing or what they've done to you. Remember, it's not what someone's done to you. It is the experience. How did you respond to it? What were you supposed to get out of it? And yes, I do understand that when we're talking about much more horrific experiences, but the concept still applies. There are no victims, and people don't want to hear that. There are no victims. You are not a victim of an accident or abuse. Now, you've had an experience that involved it, and that is part of your reconciliation process. You have to heal. However that entails. If it involves therapy, speaking to others, meditating, yoga, silent retreats, therapy, girl talk, going back to your parents, whatever that entails, get to the root of you. Get to the roots of your tree. You are the tree. Get to your roots. What is blocking the beauty in you? And when I say blocking the beauty, of course, beauty is God. Okay, so what is preventing you from expressing the beauty and the God in you? You got to let it go. You got to let it go. Listen. I've been mugged. Everything that's happened to other people has happened to me too. I'll just put it that way. But the thing is, I'm not hanging on to it. Don't let it hold you back. Remember when I spoke about Jimmy Butler? He uses his adversity to fuel his mission, his passion, to further his journey, to power his journey to continue to move forward. Excuse me. Remember, I said it's all in your perspective. If you see yourself as a victim, that's the way you're going to behave. And not only is that the way you're going to behave, that's the energy that you are emitting. So that's the way you will also be treated by others. So it gets reinforced. And you feel like, yes, I am a victim. Of course you are. Because you believe it in your mind and you feel it in your heart. So that's the reality that you are creating. You are creating yourself. The design of life that you are creating is, I design a life of a victim. That's what you're doing. So what is it that you want? Do you want to be a victim? Then good, you got what you wanted. Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Of course not. Because all the ugliness vibrates at the lower level. But we have the power of choice, of free will. You can choose to express the ugliness, or you can choose to express the beauty. That is the benefit, the luxury, or the downfall of man. We live in the reality of polarity and duality. This does not apply to God. This does not apply to the superconscious. This does not apply to the absolute, but it does apply to man. So, all the polarity, duality. Polarity means everything has its opposite, okay? And as man or human, we are able to express the good and the bad, okay? As I spoke about, a couple of episodes ago on the Daily Dose, the devil is the opposite of the God in you. It's not the opposite of God, the absolute. And all of us, if you are alive, you are animated by God. So there is God in you. That's what I is all about, the letter I. And whenever we speak of ourselves in the first person, we say I. And when we say I, we are invoking God, God's power, the God in us, the God power in us. So when people say, yes, I am God, they don't mean it blasphemously. And maybe they do, I don't know. But in general, no. Be still and know that I am God. That's a responsibility. So while it's so comfortable and convenient to think that there's a Captain Save-A-Me, there is not. The only Captain Save-A-Me that exists is you. Is you. Initiate yourself on your path. Listen, God will guide you the whole way. But that's free will. That's choice. You got to take the first step. Now, you will be surrounded by experiences, primarily from karma, because we're being restored or reconciled back to perfection. Okay? So don't worry about running through this process in one lifetime, because we're not. This is not our first incarnation as it is. That's why some of us are further along than others. Is what you do with what we have. You know, it's so interesting. We're all made of the same material, but it's like genes. You know, genes don't determine whether you have a disease or not. It's how they are expressed. You have all the genes that could express all the diseases. But if you haven't lived a life or a lifestyle that turns on these particular genes, then they don't get expressed. Oh, life is simple and complex. but it is very, very beautiful. Okay, so getting back to why passion is important. Passion usually consumes us. Okay, passion is the feeling alone will consume you. Okay, passion is generally not something you choose. It's almost like it chooses you. Okay, and passion is something that you will do for free because passion doesn't. Money and economy and governments and all of that is man-made, okay? So, yes, while you can take your passion and convert it or monetize it, that's wonderful on a physical level, okay? But don't restrict yourself or reduce yourself to just a physical being because you are not. We are spiritual entities, souls, individuated souls, having physical experiences so we can understand our greatness, our potential, and perfect ourselves, modify our behaviors, our feelings, our thoughts, so that we can become better beings or the best being possible. Perfection. Of course, once you get to perfection, it's like, just being absorbed into super consciousness or the absolute energy. Yeah, that ain't happening no time soon. So anyway, however, so where I'm going with this, the details, the stuff that we don't give much thought to, okay? Every day, like I said, we have 12 to 60,000 thoughts. All right, can you sit there and observe, assess, and modify each thought? Of course not. And it's okay because remember, 80% or 95% are repetitive. So, but what we do want to do is pay attention to our behavior, our conduct, our thoughts. So when you have the opportunity, slow down, okay? Slow down and pay attention, okay? Pay attention. Be mindful of what you're thinking. And is what you're something that you want to attract. That's why I said, listen, if we're still talking and gossiping and, keep talking about bad experiences, it's to the point now where it's just hard to hear. I stopped, commenting when people tell me stories. And eventually I got to the point where I just made them aware that, you keep telling this story, you're reliving in the past. And I'm sure I'm not the only person that you've told, So you're not growing from the experience. You're just retelling it. And retelling it and reliving it is recreating it. Now, if you share a story so that you can learn and grow, because, hey, maybe it's not coming to me. So let's see, maybe I can bounce this off of someone else and something comes to their mind. Now, if you're doing it for learning and growing, great. But if you're just telling anybody who will listen, shame on you. And I don't mean, for you to feel bad or regret, but what I'm saying is snap out of it, grow out of it, get past that. Okay? So it's the details. Pay attention. When something comes across your mind or your path or your daily experience, pay attention. Nothing is an accident or happenstance or coincidence. Now, like I said, I can't tell you what it is that you're supposed to learn or gain from the experience. I only know that it serves a purpose. If it is on your radar, it serves a purpose. Remember, think of how complex the universe is, and that's just what we can fathom. And God is behind all of this orderliness. But pay attention to the details. You want your heart and your head to match. You want them to make music together, beautiful music. That's why I used the image that I did. When they are in alignment, when they are on the same page, they being the self-conscious mind, mental energy, thoughts energy, and the heart, subconscious energy, feelings, emotional energies, when they are on the same page, are in alignment, are in agreement, it's like abracadabra. The transformation process automatically begins. There is nothing else to do on our part but be expectant, patient, and receptive. And it's funny that I say expectant because part of our disappointments in life or pain in life comes from expecting things. But when I say be expectant, I'm talking about a harmonious expectancy, okay? When you know that your thoughts and your feelings are on the same page, okay, this is the knowingness, this is the confidence, this is the faith, okay, and this comes through experience. That's why I say start practicing with little things like when I, on the Daily Dose, I just mentioned about harmony, examples of harmony popped up. For me, and it's small. Like if I tell you, be like, really, is that important? It is when you are trying to get into the flow of harmony. I was saying that I wanted to show my significant other the Amazon Fulfillment Center. I had told them about it maybe a couple of days before, and I knew we were going to pass it on our way to the airport. And but I didn't think any more of it. And normally I'm the type of person that I really kind of have to focus on stuff to remember. But I didn't think any more of it. And then, like just maybe a couple of seconds before we approached the fulfillment center, it came to my mind. I told him about it and showed it to him, pointed it out, and then we kept on going. And so for me, even though it's not a big deal, but it is the details. It lets me know that I am flowing in harmony, okay? Now, the key is you want to stay there because, the thing about frequencies and vibration is you've been in love, you enjoy things, you have moments of enlightenment, but we're only in them for a short period of time because we do not know how to maintain that vibration at that level. Okay, so we are in and out. In is just I-N as well as in, but E-N. So we are in and out of these different vibrations. So we have experienced them. We have had glimpses of them or flashes of them, of these experiences, but we can't maintain. We're not at that level energetically that we can maintain ourselves at that vibrational level. And the higher our vibration, the less that negative or energies polar opposite to like God or beauty is unable to express itself the higher that we go, which is so important while we raise our elevation up and expand our awareness out, okay? So that we include more godliness, but we also basically dissipate the lower energies or lower expressions of emotions that do not serve us, It's okay to feel angry, but you don't want to be angry, okay? You don't want to stay angry. It is okay to feel sorrow, but you don't want to be in a constant state of sorrowfulness, okay, or mournfulness. Okay, so it's okay to feel, but you don't necessarily want to be everything. Okay, so that's why you have to be mindful of how you use the word I. I is a very strong, powerful, creative term. When you say I, when I say I am invoking the power of God. It is attached to the word. I is the ninth letter. There is no coincidence, family. So anyone who's into number energy, I is the ninth letter of the alphabet. And 9, and anybody who knows anything about 9 and its frequency, it is 3, 6, and 9 are unique frequencies, unlike the other numbers. Okay, but that's not this episode. So when we use the letter I, we are invoking God's energy. Okay, I am tired. Why would you say God is tired? Because that's what you're saying. The God in me is tired. Tired of what? God doesn't get tired. That's blasphemy. You see how you have weakened the God in you, not the God. You haven't weakened the absolute. You've weakened the God in you. You've restricted it. You have defined it. You have stated that the Word is God and the Word was with God. Okay? We are the Word of God. We use the Word to create. The Word is with God. And we use it to create. Whether we use it to create what we want or what we don't want, we still use it to create. So, I am fantastic. I am faithful. I am harmonious. I am beautiful. I am appreciative. I am blissful. I am compassionate. So I have actually gone through the whole alphabet, and I will do that when I find my mind lingering somewhere else where I don't want it to be. When I catch it, entertaining negative thoughts or reliving negative images or stories. Go through the whole list of what I am. I use the whole alphabet, and I think of positive words for each letter. So I am appreciative. I am blissful. I am compassionate. I am devoted. I am empathetic. I am faithful. I am grateful. I am harmonious. I am healthy. I am happy. Do you see how you can keep going? And this reminds you, this is God in you. But it's these little things, people, that you have to do to help reprogram yourself so that you do focus your mind on what it is that you do want. And you do focus your heart energy on what you do want. Remember, it's our responsibility. God is with us every step of the way, but we have to initiate. We have to step onto the path. We have to make the choice. Be open and receptive. That is our individual responsibility. Each experience will be different because we are different. We are all unique expressions of God. We all have God's power in us. And we all have God's gifts in us. But what we do with it, how we apply it, is completely up to us. And that's keeping it real. So if we choose to give our power away to someone else or something else, then we will continue to get what we've been getting. We will continue to receive what we don't want. Do not give away your power. Do know that God is in you, that you are God, that I am God. Be still. Psalm 40:16. Be still and know that I am. I am God. Exodus 3:14. With God, all things are possible. Or maybe that's Matthew. Anyway, I am that I am. That's Exodus 3:14. I am that I am. I am that I am. Listen, God is in us. God is everything. But we have to understand the best we can. We have to get to know God. We have to get to know God. And as we get to know ourselves, we know God. Because then we know, listen, I'm only here because God expressed me. God chose to express me. Don't make it sound willy-nilly. So I serve a purpose. God has purpose for me. Now, but at the same time, I still have the power to create my own reality. So to be quite honest, when we think about the road less traveled, so there's one that is two paths. One is worn out. And then there's another one that it has all kinds of overgrowth on it, foliage, dead leaves. It might have everything on it because it's the road less traveled. So when you think about in terms of creativity, the well-worn path is basically us utilizing our free will, whether we use it purposefully or not. Okay, and the road less traveled is being aware of your power, but submitting your will to God's. And of course, submitting your will to God's is volunteering to be in the flow of harmony. So what does that mean? That means God will use you as it sees fit. You'll be a part of, we are all part of it now, but you volunteer, so you're aware of it. You're awake. You understand what roles you play. And at the same time, you realize just because you volunteer to be in harmony, it doesn't take you off the hook. You still are responsible for your own growth. It's just it should come you should be able to go a lot further faster because you're cognizant of the path and the purpose that it serves, and you volunteered to get on it, so God, use me as you will. Now, for me, my passion has been truth-seeking. That's why I said find out what your passion is, and don't think of your passion as something that has to be monetized. Don't restrict yourself that way. Don't think of yourself as just a physical being in the physical world. Because if you think if you think of a passion and only if it can be monetized, then you've already restricted yourself. That's okay. So you get what I'm saying. Let's move past that because I'm down to the last 6 minutes. 6 minutes. 6 minutes to get pressure on. Okay. Anyway, so for me, I have learned, because it's always been there, but it's finally sunk in that my passion is truth seeking and truth sharing. Okay. And is it monetizable? People selling information all day long. They're marketing it, they're packaging it, they're marketing it, and they're selling it all day long. Okay. But I just want to share it. I want to get the message out. Now, if people want to give me money, I will certainly accept it. But listen, for me, the truth is my passion. So I'm going to share it. I'm going to keep discovering it, and what I discover, I'm going to share. And that's pretty much how it's going to work, or how it has worked. But my point is this: passion, if your passion is creating art or creating poetry, whatever your passion is, follow it. See where it leads you. I'm talking about healthy passions, people, because I know this will get distorted real quick. But yes, follow your passion. See where it leads you. This is when you can't concern yourself about what other people think. Well, how are you going to make money from that? How is that going to pay you? How is that going to pay the bills? That's a waste of time. Listen, these people, you may need to block them out temporarily, okay? When you discover your passion, follow it. Trust me, God is, when you connect, God's not going to let you down. So even if you don't make money from your passion right away, or if ever in your lifetime, clearly that's not a part of, your path. Now, and I say that and you'd be like, oh, well then that contradicts me wanting to create. No, it doesn't. Because you may have something, a condition inside you that prevents you from being a millionaire. Money is the root of all evil. Rich people are bad. People have these, the eye of a camel, it's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to go to heaven. These are sayings that has energy attached to it. And if you harbor these sayings, okay, or if you harbor these sayings into your being, which means if you believe them, if you feel them, then that is your physical energy. So your head can say all at once that it wants to be a millionaire, but if you don't physically and or emotionally believe it, then guess what? Your head and your heart will not be in alignment, which means there will be no manifestation. So whenever they are not in alignment, there is no manifestation. That's why you have to observe, assess, and modify your behaviors, your thoughts, and your feelings. What inside you is preventing you from receiving what you want? Yes, it's all about you. It's all about you. And the God in you will help you get to where you want to be. But you got to make the connection. The first step is you. The head and the heart has to match. So observe, assess, and modify. Remember, we have the ability to see things from any perspective. We are limited by our imagination, our ability to perceive, conceive, receive, and achieve, or something like that. Believe and achieve. Anyway, yes, perceive, conceive, which is to develop the idea. Believe, knowing that it will come to fruition, and achieve or receive, physically accepting it. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, fellow healing spirits, fellow spirits, period. That is today's episode of Be Mindful of What You Wish. One for All is Love with Sonya Spirit. You can catch me on the Daily Dose, Facebook Live, on YouTube. I'll have to start a YouTube channel for One for All is Love because right now it's just posted on Red Sonya 616 on YouTube. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, catch me every day tomorrow, 10 minutes or less. I call it the 5-minute Daily Dose, but it wasn't 5 minutes. Anyway, catch me on the Daily Dose. I love you. Feel free to direct message me or email me, oneforallislove@gmail.com. Sonya Spirit on Facebook. You can direct message me there or on YouTube, Red Sonya 616. Thank you. I love you. And remember, you have the power. You are God. Happy Sunday. I love you. Goodbye.